Alright guys, so today we're going to be talking about uuu-dinium, and I just quickly put together this presentation to kind of give you a little preview of what this is and what we're going to be looking for. So let's just talk about some of the characteristics about, uuu-dinium. It's a parasite. An AKA for it is gold dust disease or velvet disease. The life cycle of this parasite is kind of interesting. It starts off as a spore, and then this little free swimming spore will find a host, which is the fish, and it'll attach to it. And then once it attaches to it, it will encase itself and it'll form a little cyst on it. So that's kind of its little protective thing, if you will. It's kind of like its little house around it, right? And then it allows it to feed on the fish while it's attached to it. But then the second part of this life cycle is the spore stage. So we just talked about the cyst stage, and now it's the spore stage. It'll go back into the tank and it'll become like a free swimming spore again, and then it'll attach itself to another fish or the same fish, and so on and so forth. So it's very, very contagious. So I just made this little life cycle chart thing. As you can see, this right here, you got the cyst stage that I was talking about, the little white or gold dots that you can see on the fish, and then it comes down into the dinospore, the spore free swimming phase. And then it just loops right back up. Whenever it's in this phase right here, this cyst phase is on the fish, and then after that it drops down to the bottom of the tank, and then you get the dinospore or the free swimming stage, and then it's just a big circle, and it just keeps going, and it can kill your fish really fast. So how do you take care of this problem? The only way I know of is to treat it with a copper solution. And the copper solution attacks the free swimming stage. So in this life cycle thing that I made, I got here where the copper attacks it. So the copper is not directly attacking the cyst stage that's on the fish, but it prevents it from attacking another fish or the same fish. So that's how you take care of this problem. One thing I really want to talk about is how to differentiate this uuu-dinium from ick, because you treat them completely different. So I made this little chart thing. Ick, the dots are bigger, they stand out more. There's not as many dots as there are on uuu-dinium. Ick, you can easily see them from a distance. It's like they stick out at you, like a sore thumb. It's like they're hard to miss. And you treat ick with an ick solution like ick away or whatever solution you use to treat ick. And this next slide is just talking about uuu-dinium. They're really small, fine dots, and there's usually more of them. They're harder to see from a distance. You really need to look at your fish closely, and you treat it with a copper solution. So as you can see, it's crucial that you identify what you have so that you know what to treat it with, because they're completely different in terms of treating them. So how do you prevent this uuu-dinium? Well, always isolate new fish before you introduce them to your tank. And even though your fish may look fine at the pet store, they could still be carrying a cyst or something. They're so small, especially if it's just one cyst, it's really hard to tell if they have anything. And it takes a day or two to show up. And if you see it, you can treat it. And right now I'm going to show you my tank, because I also have a tank where I isolate my new fish before I put them in. This is a tank I use. And it just so happens that one of these fish, I don't know, or maybe two of them, were carrying this uuu-dinium, and I just want to show you what happens. So let me get a nice close-up shot. I'm going to use my flashlight because I can just kind of point the light exactly at what I'm talking about. And do you see those fine small white dots on this black veranda? You can kind of see them. They're kind of everywhere. You can really tell right here. You see, this is what I'm talking about. And check out his breathing. As you can see, it's really not great. Let's see if I can get a close-up of this other guy right here. As you can see, I'm trying to give you guys a good angle. It's kind of hard to show you a shot. You can really tell when you get up close to them. And if this was ick, I mean, you would see it. I wouldn't have to be this close just to see it. But as you can tell, this guy is pretty bad too. He's kind of got them all over, right? Maybe that's a good shot right there. Well, right there, it's not bad. Let's see if some of these other guys have anything. These other guys are not as bad, but obviously they've been with these guys for a while, and so they're gonna have some too. I mean, like I said, the cyst phase is gonna be all over. So when that cyst phase is over, then you get the spore phase, which is the free swimming phase, and then it's a big old mess, and all of them will die, if you don't treat it. But let's talk about, how to treat this thing. What I like to do is I'm always going to dose with some aquarium salt, so they're in a salt bath solution, and so we're going to use 1 tablespoon per gallon. Now this is this is about 15 gallons of water here, so I'm going to use 15 tablespoons of salt. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. I already got my tablespoon out here, and put some salt in this dish here. So it's just going to be faster so I can show you guys while I'm filming. There's 2, and then there's 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I need a little more salt. Alright, so that was 12, and then 13, 14, and 15. Okay, that's good. All of them are. Alright, so we just dosed it, with the salt that we need to get our concentration of salt bath that we need. And now the most important thing, I really like Cupramine by Seachem Labs, but there are other copper solutions out there, so I'm not, trying to stray you away from any other copper solution out there. But whichever one you get, just make sure and just follow the directions on the back of the label. So just read your label and see how much you need to dose, and I'm sure you'll be fine with that. And this one comes with its own little dropper inside that you can use, but I have my own little dropper that I like to use. So let's see here, and for my dose I needed about 1.5 cc. So just kind of dose your tank, and like I said, as far as dosing goes, I just follow the directions on the label, and we'll keep a little log and see how these guys are progressing as we go on. As you can see, they're not as active as they should be. Usually Arandas, and I have one right in here, they're very active, and yeah, they're not doing too well. And I'm really glad I isolated these guys, and I always isolate. That's why this tank is here, because I just got all of these guys before I introduce them to my big tank. I want to make sure that they're okay, and they all looked okay when I bought them, but they're obviously not doing too good right now. See, what would have happened if I would have introduced these guys into my main tank, I would even have a bigger problem, because all my other fish that I've had before, and they're fine, they're healthy, they would all have this, and so I'd be worried about losing some of them. But since I just got these guys, I just introduced them into this new tank, and I'm glad I did that. And so I highly recommend you guys, if you guys are going to buy a new fish, well, even if it's just one, introduce them into a smaller tank. Obviously, I'm using this tank because the quantity of fish that I have right now, it's a lot. I'm not going to put them in a 10-gallon, but I have this other 10-gallon that I usually put them in, and I'm just going to check them out, see how they're doing for about 2 to 3 weeks, and I've had pretty good luck with that. And like I said, I'm glad I did that with these guys, or else I'd have an even bigger problem over there. So I just want to mention the whisper filter that I have going on back here. I don't have any activated carbon. If you read any label, when you treat any fish. It's going to talk about remove activated carbon. Well, but that doesn't mean you can't use mechanical filtration, and that's what I'm using here. I just have a sponge in this filter. It's got no carbon in it, and so it's just acting as a filter for anything that's just floating around, because if not, it's just going to get really messy really fast, and then you're going to have problems with that. So I can't think of anything else other than trying to figure out whether it's ick or uuu-dinium. Just kind of go by your gut instinct, and check and see if those dots are really small and really fine and just kind of really clustered together, or are they big and just kind of sticking out at you, kind of like ick would be, and because you treat them completely different. So that's why it's important to identify what you have. That way you can treat it as fast as possible, and then you're not going to lose any of your fish. But feel free to post any comments on this, and any suggestions. I know ideally the tank would not have rocks in it, but this was kind of an emergency, and it's the rocks are infected with it anyway, so I'm just gonna treat the whole thing anyway. So but if this was happening in my main tank, I wouldn't be treating my main tank. I would isolate all my fish and then treat it. But since this is already a small tank and there's lots of fish in here, that's why I'm doing that. But yeah, hopefully this will help out some people. And like I said, feel free to post your thoughts on it. Thanks. Hey guys, welcome back. So this is 6 days later after the fact that we found all those little white dots on them, and as you can see, there's, I don't know if you can tell, but there aren't any little white dots on any of these guys anymore. Let me try to zoom in. Apologize for all the moving around, but I'm really trying. They're really active, as you can tell, compared to the first video I made. Just go back and look at them how they were before, and notice that there's nothing, no little white spots on this guy. Sorry, that got really blurry, but as you can see, the treatment was a success. They're all doing really good right now. Even that little guy back there, he's doing pretty good. So is that guy. So yeah, hopefully this will help you guys out, and you guys won't lose any fish. Post your comments and let me know what you guys think. And yeah, hopefully these guys will keep doing well here. I didn't change the water. Once I treated it with that, 3 days later I treated it again. I put another dose in, following the directions in the back, and that's pretty much it. I don't think I'm having a problem with it anymore. So the next step is to go back to the original setting of this tank. I'm going to take the whisper filter out and use this other filter that I have, and change the water and so on and so forth. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks.